All of our classes for this first week will be recorded and available to you on Lotus Center's YouTube channel. And also, there are a lot of other recordings on there. We've got some Qigong videos, we've got some yoga videos, and we have some other meditation videos. One of which is the meditation that we are going to do this morning, or a version of it, the inner body meditation. So I think that for a lot of you, this practice is going to be new, and please feel free to access the video that is on Lotus Center's YouTube channel. It is called, I believe it's called Inner Body Meditation. But I tell you what, I'll send an email to you all with the exact name of the video and a link to the channel, so that I'll send two links, one to the channel and one to that particular video. So that'll be available to you for guidance as you practice, should you need it. So now might be a good time to check and make sure that devices have been silenced. Excuse me. Having silenced our devices, let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. Taking care to ensure that our spine is straight and relaxed. We're facing straight ahead with our head tilted slightly forward. Our mouth is closed, our jaw is relaxed. And if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and softly close your eyes. And to begin, I'd like you to please simply bring your awareness to the exhalation of your breath. And very gently, very, very gently, allow your exhalation to be just a bit longer and a bit more pronounced than your inhalation. Please feel free to experiment with pausing briefly at the bottom of each exhalation. There is an aspect of the body that is referred to sometimes as the inner body. Some schools of meditation refer to it as the subtle body. And by coming into contact with your inner body, you can make manifest a more supple, tranquil state of awareness. So to accomplish this, I'd like you to please draw your awareness inside of your body and become aware of sensations. These sensations may start in your hands and your feet in the form of a tingling, perhaps a lightness, perhaps a heaviness, perhaps a pulsation. No analysis is necessary. There's nothing to figure out. Just be the silent observer of these sensations and allow a more tranquil, non-conceptual state of awareness to emerge. It may be that the sensations begin to travel up into your arms and your legs, perhaps into the region of your chest, perhaps into your face and your cheeks. If this is your experience, this is perfectly fine. It may be that the sensations remain in your hands and your feet. If this is your experience, this is perfectly fine as well. Just continue to be the silent observer of these sensations. To support you in your meditation, you may find it beneficial to bring to mind the image of a mountain. the mountain is balanced, grounded, and stable. Imagine what it would be like for a mountain to have consciousness. Snow may fall on the mountain or not. The wind may blow, the sun may shine. A nearby river may rise and then recede. The mountain simply observes silently. No judgment, no labeling, no comparing, no expectation. Be like a mountain. Be like a mountain as you silently observe sensations within your inner body. It may be that your attention has wandered to a potential event in the future or a memory of something that occurred in the past. Please gently bring your awareness back to this moment, this place, and observe sensations within your inner body. And now please gently, very gently, redirect your awareness. Become aware again of your physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your body. Still deeper breaths. Become aware again of your surroundings inside of the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of nearby mountains, of nearby countries, of nearby continents, of nearby planets. We dedicate all of the positive energy from this morning's meditation and discussion to world peace. May all beings without exception be completely free from all forms of mental and physical suffering. May all beings without exception be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Oops, my camera tilted a little bit. Production challenges here. Welcome back, everyone. For many of you, that may have been your first experience with the inner meditation, the meditation on the inner body. And the sensations that you experienced might have been very, very slight. You might not have experienced anything at all. Your hands and your feet might have felt, I don't know, kind of like a dead zone. That's okay. It's okay. It takes practice. It will come, and it will come naturally. Hearkening back to the words of my meditation friend, Steve Anderson, keep reminding people that it takes time. It takes time to develop skill in meditation. So one of the ways that meditation works, maybe the way that meditation works, is through something that is known as the force of familiarity. The force of familiarity. And what that basically means is simply that the more familiar we are with something, the easier it is for us to do. The force of familiarity. When thinking about the force of familiarity, I think way, way back when I was learning how to drive a car. The first car that I learned how to drive had a standard transmission. And when I was getting started, I mean, this combination of like depressing the clutch pedal and pressing down simultaneously on the gas pedal and moving this thing forward and keeping it between two lines just seemed like a complete impossibility. no way was I going to ever be able to do that. And guess what? After a while, I became familiar with it, and piece of cake. I think that's the case with all of us who drive motor vehicles. It was pretty sketchy, to put it mildly, to begin with. And now, nothing to it. We can adjust the radio while we drive. Maybe we talk on the phone while we're driving. Big cities I've seen before, I've seen people putting makeup on as they drive their car. Not advocating this, of course, but it's just a really graphic example, I think, of the truth of the force of familiarity. In the meditation practice that we are learning, and the practice of meditation in general, the force of familiarity will take hold. You will become familiar with meditation the more that you do it, and you'll be able to do it easily and effectively. Refining that notion a little bit, there are two states of consciousness that I'd like you to become familiar with, that I encourage you to become familiar with. One you're very, very familiar with, and that's called conceptual thought. The other we may be less familiar with is called nonconceptual awareness. Conceptual thought, nonconceptual awareness. And these two states of consciousness are going to be the cornerstones of basically everything that we talk about in meditation, in the meditation practice that we're going to learn. Just another very important thought about this, a very important conceptual thought about this, is that in meditation, we are concerned more with experiencing. We're concerned more with having an experience than we are with having a conceptual or intellectual understanding of the thing. Yesterday, I mentioned the definition of love. Definition of love being wishing for another's happiness. There's a difference between those words that constitute a definition, a conceptual mental construct, difference between that and the experience of love. Those of us who have been in love or have children know that there really aren't words that we can put to the experience of love. There's really not any other comparison, any labeling, anything that will really take the place of the experience of love. And that's where we're going with meditation practice. We want to go to a place where we have direct experiences of different objects. Object sounds kind of decidedly sterile and impersonal, but objects can just mean anything to which we direct our attention, our awareness. An object of meditation can be love, it can be compassion, it can be inner peace, it can be sensations within the inner body. So let's start with the one that we're already very familiar with, and that's conceptual thought. Almost all of our waking time is spent engaging with our world and everything in it through concepts, through mental constructs, comparisons, labels, definitions, speculation, expectation about things. These are all functions of the thinking mind, and there's a very big difference between thought, conceptual thought, and direct experience, which we achieve through non-conceptual awareness. When we are out walking in nature, perhaps for those of us who go hiking and who go out into nature, one of the pleasures of being out in nature is having direct experience, to directly experiencing the isness of the natural world. Like there are all sorts of miracles that are taking place in nature. And when we are able to step away from our busy, domesticated existence, we can experience those beautiful things, those miraculous things. We can observe wildlife and birds. We can take in a bird and just behold this magical, miraculous experience of this other being that is flying about. The thinking mind often steps in and says, oh, look at that bird, how beautiful. What kind of bird is that? I used to know the name of that. What is it? And the thinking mind can preempt our ability to experience. Watch your thinking mind, please. May this be a homework assignment for us, is to observe our thinking mind and observe the degree to which our thinking mind controls all of the experiences that we have, which makes it not really even an experience at all. I can point, I'm sorry, I'll save that for later. The conceptual thinking mind is never satisfied. It always needs to know more and more and more. If you watch, you'll see this is the case. We get to a place where we have a conceptual understanding of something, and then we want to go deeper, and then we want to go deeper and further refine our conceptual intellectual understanding, our definitions, our understanding of the causal relationship between how it happens. The thinking mind is never satisfied. And this is a really important point, and it's why we're here and why meditation has the potential to work. You cannot think your way out of suffering. You cannot think your way out of suffering. And conversely, you can't think your way into being happy. Really a profound truth, I think. If we were capable, if we Homo sapiens were capable of thinking our way out of suffering, it would have happened by now. We've got big brains, right? We've got big brains and we can figure stuff out. If we were able to think our way out of suffering and think our way into being happiness, it would have happened by now. But most of us experience difficulties. We have problems that we can't stop thinking about. And thus the appeal for us to become more familiar with non-conceptual awareness. Going from a place that says, that bird is a finch, or that bird is a magpie, or going from that to that bird is, period, and let it be that way. Engage with the world as it is and simply observe without having to label, having to define, having to understand how it works, just allowing it to be and experiencing it directly. What we're striving here for is getting to a place where we are being human beings and experiencing the world around us. Just a couple more thoughts. I've run over a little bit. It's amazing how time flies. One of the problems with conceptual thought, and it's a really graphic, I think, powerful example of how the thinking mind is never satisfied with conceptual knowledge and understanding. We go from a place of beholding, sometimes non-conceptual awareness, back to our nature example. We're in nature and we observe a bird. And so there it's already started. That is a bird. And that bird is a magpie. And I don't really like magpies. I like other kinds of birds. And pretty soon, magpies are bad birds because of this. And we go from a direct experience of the thing to a judgmental, value-based experience of it. The stakes become higher when we start to examine the thinking mind as it engages with other human beings. There's a person in my field right now. We have the opportunity to be able to simply experience that person for who they are. The thinking mind intercedes and says, observes a little more closely, and why is that person dressed that way? Why is that person driving that car that way? They must have this particular political affiliation or this socioeconomic status. I bet they are a liberal Democrat or a radically conservative Republican or whatever. And therefore, I don't like them. That person is bad. Thinking mind takes over and it just can't help itself to define and label. What we want to go to is a place where we experience the peace of experiencing, the peace of experiencing with a state of consciousness that is free of thought, that is free of the thinking, conceptual process. Discursive thought, just random, undirected thinking that just takes off on its own and develops a life of its own. Last thought, you guys, last thought I want to share before we close is we're not saying that there's not a place for conceptual thought. There absolutely is. We have to have a conceptual understanding of driving a car, meditating, doing things in life before we can become so familiar with it that it becomes natural, it becomes our default. There needs to be a conceptual understanding of the thing and thus kind of a buy-in for us before we can apply ourselves to experience the thing at all. We've got to know the directions, mental constructs. We've got to know the directions to the trailhead so we can get to the trailhead and then walk and experience nature. We've got to know these, we've got to understand conceptually these aspects of meditation before we can do it and get ourselves to a place of non-conceptual awareness, of directly experiencing. But it's when the thinking mind dominates kind of its own accord, it's kind of thinking without awareness. It's just discursive, uncontrolled, random, so often pointless thought that overrides everything and deprives us of an opportunity to experience the beauty of our world and the beauty of our life. It's a lot to take in. We'll be revisiting conceptual thought and non-conceptual awareness basically a lot over the course of our meditation experiences together. Gonna make sure I allow some time tomorrow for some questions and comments. So if you have questions, please save them for tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for indulging me. I ran over 6 minutes. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.